So before we get into the nitty-gritty of land use regulation, it's worth spending a little bit of time learning about how real estate is organized within a jurisdiction. So I've used this terminology before of a parcel. Okay, so what does that mean? So if you look on this little map here, this is a sample from an assessor's parcel map. Okay, so this is basically a map of a particular neighborhood, and you can see each of these little spaces is actually a house. Okay, so each of these, this looks like it's a residential neighborhood, and so each of these is the lot basically. So you're given kind of a lot by lot map of the entire neighborhood. Okay, so each of these lots is specified by its dimensions. Okay, so you can see that there's some kind of dimensional markings here, and it's also numbered. Okay, so in every county, at least in California, our real estate is organized by county. So every county is going to have what's called a assessor parcel maps. So basically, this is going to be a set of maps that covers every part of the county and is going to divide up every uh, part of real estate, including like agricultural land, industrial land. There's going to be a map that covers the land area of the entire county, and it's going to divide up all the land into parcels. Now, these residential parcels are appropriate for a house. Okay, so there's going to be a little house here, and there's the backyard and the front yard, etc. Uh, they're relatively small. If you look at agricultural land, you're going to have parcels that are much larger. You can have a parcel that's 40 acres. Okay, so uh, or even more. So the size of the parcel is going to be dependent on the type of property it is. And so, what is the use of these assessor parcel maps? So, for one, it's for identifying the property. This is the official kind of identifying uh, ID code, you can say, for every parcel or every part of land is what is officially recorded with the county. So when you want to buy or sell land, it's going to identify the property by its location and its ID number essentially in this assessor's parcel map. And so when you're buying property, what you're buying is referenced by this assessor's parcel map number. So it's very important because you're essentially buying whatever is in this official record. So verifying the dimensions and the location, etc., with the parcel map and the parcel number that you're buying is kind of part of the due diligence. Now, for most property, like in this kind of residential neighborhood, it's pretty straightforward. But once you get into commercial properties where the boundaries are not super obvious, like by a fence or whatever, then it becomes a little more tricky to kind of verify. You can do what's called a survey, because every assessor's parcel map is going to also be associated with kind of a physical description of the lot. So you want to verify, it's like whatever. A lot of these legal descriptions are old, so it's like 20 feet from this landmark to 30 feet to this landmark. So there's going to be some physical description. Um, and so verifying that with the survey is often done to make sure that the map and the physical description are matching. So property tax assessment. So uh, the reason why the county maintains these records is that it's collecting property tax. So these assessor parcel maps are used kind of to organize the property tax collection system. And then again, land use planning. Each of these parcels is going to fall into a particular land use designation. And so the land use, the zoning map for a city, for example, is going to cover a certain land area. And then the parcel is going to fall within these designated areas. So um, knowing where your property is uh, on the parcel map and how it relates to the zoning, because the zoning may be tied to kind of the uh, the parcels that are kind of identified. So it's they kind of work together for land use planning purposes. And then for transactions, so as I mentioned, when you buy property, it's going to reference the assessor's parcel number and say that, hey, you are buying this property as per the records of the county and this assessor's parcel number. So um, when you actually buy the property, to make it official, you will also record a transfer with the county that shows that this particular parcel was transferred. So it's used, it's the main way that kind of real estate transactions are referenced and recorded. So let's look at an example of assessor's parcel map kind of in the modern context because in especially in the Bay Area counties, they've kind of electronic like now they used to be physical maps that you'd have to go to the county to look at. Now they're kind of put onto GIS systems and can be kind of accessed electronically. So I'm just going to go to the Santa Clara County Assessor's public portal here. Click on this. It's going to give me a couple options here. I can search by address, but let's look at the map itself. So if you go property search, search by map, it's going to give you access to this kind of mapping software. So now let's just zoom in. Okay, so this is kind of the downtown area. This is downtown San Jose area. So you can see that the parcel map has the parcel kind of boundaries in orange here. So you can see that, for example, this looks like some kind of commercial building. The lot line is, so you have this very skinny lot here. This parcel right here is a very skinny kind of long parcel. And then around it is this other parcel here. And so if you click on it, it looks like it's on 255 Barack Obama Boulevard. Okay, so it's giving you the APN number here is the assessor's parcel number. And it's a unique identifier with the county, and it's giving the address here. So now if we just go to like a regular, so you can kind of see the outlines here. It looks like this is just a residential neighborhood. So let's zoom in here a little bit. So you can see it's done a good job of kind of putting the assessor's parcel number, and you can see the outline of the house and kind of the lot line. So if we click on this, again, it gives you the address. Um, you can also go to the assessor's website and kind of do a little more research. So if we go here and you just put in this address, let's see what kind of information it gives us. Okay, so now it's giving us some information on the tax information. Okay, so it's giving you the address, and you can see that this is the value of the house that the property tax is assessed on. So typically in California, depending on exactly where the property is located, it's around a 1 to 1.5% of the assessed value of the house. Okay, so the property tax for this house is probably going to be around $12,000 a year. Okay, 12 to 15,000 is my guess. I have a paid database that is kind of interesting too. So I'm just showing this to you. This website is called Property Radar. You have to pay to have access to it, but I just wanted to show you guys what other information you can possibly find out about a property. So I'm just putting in the address here. It's the one in San Jose. So if I look this up, it's gonna again take me to this same parcel. This website is integrating a lot of different data sources. So one of them is the kind of assessor's parcel map. So you see this is the property here, and it's giving me a little more information. So it's telling me how big the house is. It's 2,700 square feet. It's a 4-bedroom, 3-bath, and you notice here that the estimated value here is 2.1 million, while we saw on the assessor's website it was only 1.1 million. Why is that? Because in California, the property tax is assessed based on the value that you bought the property at. So it must be that this owner bought the property some time ago. And in California, the county does not keep raising the basis for the property tax every year. You're kind of fixed at the level that you bought the property at. So my uncle who bought his house in Fremont, California, back in the 70s. I think it was the late 70s. His house is worth several million dollars now, but his property tax base is only whatever, 100 or $150,000 or whatever he paid for it at that time. So this is one advantage we have in California. It's kind of a law called Proposition 13 that kind of has set this as the rule for property tax, where you don't reassess. In a state like Texas, if your house goes up in value, the county kind of reassesses your property every year and collects tax based on the actual market value of your house. Okay, so this website also has some other information. It tells you how big the lot is. It tells you when the house was built. And you can see here, now we're getting back to this 1.1 million. For property tax purposes, we see the assessed value here at 1.1. And it is also telling us the name of the owner. Okay, so this website has kind of pulled in other information and it's telling us who the owner is. This website also has information on kind of what all the transactions related to this property are. So I'm not going to spend too much time, but basically you can see when the property was sold, what kind of mortgages they've put on the property. And so they've refinanced a lot. A lot of these you can see loan, 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 loan. These are all different loans that have been put on the property, and then they probably take out a new loan and paid the old one off. So that's kind of what's happened. So just to summarize, I guess the point of this exploration was just to show you how parcels are organized and or how real estate is organized into parcels and the information that's kind of available in the public sphere about these parcels to give you a sense of when we talk about zoning, when we go into more detail, how properties and parcels fall within certain zones. And that zone is going to determine a lot about what you can do with the property, which we're going to go into more detail about.